What's up? Looks like we don't have anyone logged in yet, but just wanted to say what's up to those of you who are looking to log in here any minute now. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Excited for this video, this virtual video hangout. So that'll be a good time. It says 0 viewers, but I wonder if anyone's out there. If anyone's out there, type in a question. There should be an app on the side. It might be on your right-hand side where it says Q&A. You guys can type in some questions that you have. If you're out there, I just want to make sure anyone's out there. If you're out there, go ahead and type in a question or just say what's up or say something. Let me know. Let me know you're here. So still got 0 viewers out there. That's okay. We'll see if it says 0 viewers. I don't know if that is right. Maybe there are people. I think I tweeted out the link, but if you're on here, you would probably know that. So this looks like the right link. If y'all go to Twitter, click the link. It should bring you right here if anyone went to Twitter. Who doesn't check Twitter, though? Everyone loves Twitter. I love me some tweets. Uh-oh. All right, what's up, Collide? How are you guys doing? I'm Chris. I'm the Plantation Campus Student Ministries Director. I'm so glad that you guys are here. If you're just joining us, excuse me. Welcome to our virtual hangout for student leadership. Excuse me, got a little something in my throat there, this is our student leadership for this semester. So what this is just an opportunity for us to hang out via the internet because we've got great technology. Like, man, I wouldn't have imagined doing something like this like 5 years ago, but now like I can broadcast to you. You guys can be live and part of the conversation and see what's going on. So if you guys look, there should be a button you could click on where it has a question and answer tab. It should have be a blue box. Excuse me, it's got a blue box. It says Q&A. So click on that. It should pull up a little tab. So then you guys can do some question and answer. So here's a little bit of the rundown. The reason we're doing this is so that we can have an opportunity every month where myself and Sam McDowell, who's our Gateway Campus Student Ministries Director, we have an opportunity to get to pour into you, you who serve at Collide. So this is open to anyone, really. It's open to anyone who serves at Collide or anyone who attends at Collide but wants to serve, or anyone who's leading at Collide. Or really, I hope that this is just a great resource for anyone and everyone who wants to take their next step in serving and their next step in leading. And because here's the truth, here's the reality, guys, is that no matter what area of life we're in, I believe that when we choose to serve, and we make that decision to serve others and put others before ourselves, and we're living the way that Jesus did. And so that's the vision of why we do this here at Collide and why we do the Student Leadership Hangout, is so we can teach a little bit more about leadership and so we get so excited about this semester. We're going to do this every month. And so I'm excited. And the cool thing is even if you aren't able to join us right now at 2 o'clock on Sunday, October 26th, it's actually my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. The reason I say that is because you can watch this link online. So we'll post this, and so we can post this on YouTube. And so if you weren't able to be here at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, then that's okay. You can watch it sometime this week, and we'll make sure to get that link out. So it's so cool. I love the internet. I love technology. It's so much fun. So I'm really excited about this. And so that's a little bit of the vision, the why behind the what of what we're doing this. And so just expect that when we're doing this over the next several months is basically just expect the leadership teaching. And so something that's not going to be so super deep or so crazy or something that you've never heard of before. Maybe it's something you haven't heard of before. And that's why we want to teach that you guys, as students of Collide, the leadership principles that I was taught. I know that Will, our next gen pastor, he taught me so much of this stuff, and pretty much everything that you hear me saying is coming down from the top. It's coming from the Pastor Matt to Will to myself and Sam and all of that. And so we're just so excited to be able to pour into you guys what's already been poured in to us. So what we're going to be talking about today is 3 ideals to leadership. 3 ideals to leadership. And so before I do that, I just want to remind you, get part of the conversation. If you have any questions whatsoever, type in your question, and at the end we'll answer any of those questions. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited. So like I said, we're talking about 3 ideals to leadership. So what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about what is leadership. And so simply put, leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. Leadership is influence. If you guys were at Collide, not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, you heard Ashley speak an incredible message about serving others and putting others first, and really about leading. And what she said was leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. And I think that's so true, is that when we choose to put others above ourselves, and that's one way for us to gain influence. So the first thing I want to talk about, one of the first ideal of leadership is to see others greater than yourself. See others greater than yourself. And we find a verse in the book of Philippians where the writer of Philippians, name is Paul, and he talks about this, and he talks about the way Jesus, viewed others. And he says it right here in Philippians 2, verse 3 and 4. It says, "Do nothing conceit, but rather in humility value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of others." So what this ideal of leadership is, seeing others greater than yourselves. It's trying to impress others. So when we try to impress others or put the focus on me, when the focus should be on you. For example, if you guys watch the NFL like I do, I love football. I think of a couple guys. One of them's name is Terrell Owens. Now, if you know Terrell Owens, you know that this guy just has such a reputation for being arrogant, for being all about himself, for he would be the guy that was like, "Oh, get your popcorn ready because I'm coming to town." Like, "Hey, if my team's playing your team, you better get your popcorn ready because I'm going to put on a show. Like, it's all about me. It's the TO show." I actually think he had a show on VH1 called the TO show, which he was all about himself. Or there's another guy, his name was Chad Johnson, but he changed, and his number was 85, but he changed his name to Chad Ocho Cinco. So his number was 85. He changed his name to Ocho Cinco, which is 8 and 5 in Spanish. Like, this guy was just so arrogant and so about himself. And so really, they didn't get that seeing the others greater than yourself part of leadership. And I think that if they decided that they were going to talk about themselves less and talk about others more, then they might have understood this a little bit better. What about the one-upper? The one-upper. We all know that person who's like the one-upper. Like, you tell a story, I bet you they've got a story better than it. Like, for example, I was in the office one time, and I was like, oh man, I got this pumpkin spice latte. I got another shot of espresso in it because it's Monday morning and I'm tired. And this guy walks up and is like, oh yeah, I've got 6 espressos over ice. Like this giant Starbucks drink, and he had just like six espresso shots and put ice on it. Like, all right, congratulations. You drink more caffeine than I do. You're the one-upper. Great job. You've got that reputation. Or what about the kid with the best grades who you're like, oh, sweet, I got an 85 on this exam. Like, I was so nervous I got an 85. And he's like, yeah, I've got the lowest grade I've ever gotten in this class is like a 97. What? No one cares. Like, all you're thinking about is yourself. Just be happy for me. I got an 85. It's the best grade I've gotten all semester. Just please be happy for me. Or what about the gym rat, right? How many of you guys have that friend where they're like, oh yeah, check me out. Like, oh yeah, you see that pump I got in today, man? Like, you're like, yeah, I just got a new high. Like, I benched the bar. Like, I finally put up the bar. I finally did it. And they're like, yeah, I put on like 275 pounds and repped it 17 times. Great, man. We're so happy for you. We're so proud of you. Congratulations. You're starting offensive lineman for the football team. You can rep that much. I'm over here trying to play tennis, and I rep the bar once. Like, great job. You're so much better than I am. Congratulations. But we can joke about it, but the truth is, the reality is that we all know that person who is the one-upper, who always thinks that they've got a better story, that they're better than you are, that they can do one more thing better than you can. And see, the danger is that when we put all of the focus on us and not on others, we're not leading anymore. And when we're just promoting ourselves, that's not leadership. See, like Ashley talked about a couple weeks ago, the greatest leader is the one who serves. People don't want to follow a leader who just promotes themselves. They don't. They want to follow a leader who is going to build them up and is going to encourage them and pour into them. They don't want the leader that's saying, look at how good I am. Look at how awesome I am. Follow me because I'm so awesome. No, that's not what we want. We want a leader who's going to say, hey, I believe in you. I care about you. I see potential in you. That's the leader that we want to follow. We want to follow the leader that cares about us and puts us over themselves. See, humility causes us to see others as greater and their interests as equal to ours. See, when it comes down to making decisions, who do we think about? Do we think about ourselves when it comes down to every decision? Is it all about me, 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 me? Or do we think about others? See, if all we do is take into consideration ourselves and what we want and what we think is best, then I think we're missing it. I think we're missing the point. If we get so caught up, get this, guys, get this. If we get so caught up in our own comfort zone that and we don't do anything to get out of that, then we could potentially miss an opportunity to connect with someone who's coming to Collide and giving God one last chance. If all we do is come into Collide on a Wednesday night and we think about, how is this going to benefit me? How can I grow? How can I learn tonight? And see, here's the thing, that's not bad. When you come to Collide, I want you to learn. I want you to grow. I want you to be able to engage in the message. But if all you do is you come in, you sit in with your group of friends, you try and not get out of your comfort zone, but you just talk to the same people every week, then I think that we're missing it. Because I guarantee you guys, every week, that there's one student, at least one student that's coming in and saying, I'm going to give God one more chance. I'm going to give this whole church thing one last chance. And if we're so stuck in our comfort zone that we don't get out and engage in a conversation, then we're missing it. Then we could potentially be missing an opportunity to connect with the student who's giving God one last chance. So my challenge to you guys in this aspect of seeing others as greater than ourselves, my challenge to you, Plantation Campus student leadership, my challenge to you is step out of your comfort zone this Wednesday. This Wednesday, when you're at Collide, be intentional. Open your eyes and look for the person that's sitting by themselves. Look for the person who came in and doesn't know anyone and they're just standing against the wall, and encourage them, and go up and have a conversation with them, engage with them, because you never know. That person may be giving God one last chance. And if we are only looking to our own interests and our own values, then we might miss that opportunity to engage with them. So the first thing we got to do is we got to see others as greater than ourselves. The second ideal of leadership is we have to honor those that have gone before us. We have to honor those who have gone before us. Romans 13:1-4 says, "Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against God, or is rebelling against what God has instituted. And those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Then do what is right, and you will be commended. For the one who is in authority is God's servant for your good." Let me read that again. For the one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath, to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. So what is that saying? Is all authority has been appointed by God. All authority has been appointed by God. So before I go any further, guys, I just want to encourage you, if you're logged in, if you're hanging out with us this afternoon, I just want to have questions through this time for the teaching. Feel free to type them in, and when I get to the end, we'll answer. We'll take a few minutes, and I'll answer some questions, and it'll be good. So this is interactive, so feel free to communicate. Feel free to type in some questions that you might have as we're going through this teaching. So all authority has been appointed by God. So that means that teachers, parents, cops, bosses, pastors, captains, coaches, you name it, if they are in a position of authority over us or over anyone, then they are directly appointed by God. Even if you don't think it's fair, even if there's if you don't see eye to eye with your parents, maybe you don't see eye to eye, you don't agree with them. Well, guess what? They were still put in your life for a reason. If you don't agree with your coach and the way that they subbed you out and they put in someone else, if you don't agree with that, well, here's the reality, guys. They were appointed by God. Even if you don't think it's fair, even if you don't think it's right, even if you don't like them, don't complain to someone else. Don't post about how much you hate them on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram. Listen, don't complain about it. Don't do any of that. Take that up with God, because God's the one who's put them in authority. And that doesn't mean I'm not trying to say to blame God for this person and the fact that you don't like them. Don't go and blame God and say, God, it's your fault that they're not treating me right and this and that. Don't go and blame God for that problem. But my thought is, if God put them in a position of leadership, then I'm going to trust him. And it may not make sense, but I guarantee you that one day it will. I know I once had a boss who I thought wasn't the greatest. I didn't agree with what he did. I didn't always agree with what he said. I didn't really have a good relationship with. I didn't really trust him that much, and I thought that I could have done better as a boss than he could have. But you know what I learned? I learned how to care for people, and I learned how to think in a different way, and I learned how to honor even when it didn't make sense. So instead of going on and bad mouthing this boss because I didn't think he was treating me fair and I didn't think he was right and I didn't think that he treated me right, I never said a bad word about that boss. I didn't go and complain to my friends about how terrible he was. I didn't go and tweet about how much I didn't like him and how I think I could do a better job. What I decided to do instead was that I told for being in that position of authority. And when anyone asked me anything about him, I always honored him. I never said a bad word about him, but I always talked about how great I thought he was and how much that I trusted him. Even when I really didn't, I had to have a hard conversation with him and we had to figure things out, but I never dishonored him and I never spoke bad about him. Why? Because I knew that all authority is appointed by God. And so I decided to trust God and I decided to learn even under the leadership that I didn't think was that great. So here's the thing, if you dishonor authority now, there's a good chance that you could be dishonored when you're in a place of authority or leadership. Honor now and be honored later. Dishonor now and you could be dishonored later. So as we're talking about the three ideals of leadership, the first one is see others as greater than yourself. The second one is honor those who have gone before you, or honor those who are in a position of authority. And the third ideal of leadership. And so if you have any questions over the last two, feel free to type them in. Feel free to ask them. I'd love to answer your questions in just a few minutes. But this third ideal of leadership, the final ideal of leadership is we have to stay in God's word. We have to stay out of Psalm 119, verses 1 through 3, and then we'll skip down to verse 11. It says, ways are blameless, who walk according to the law of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep his statutes and who seek him with all their heart. They do no wrong, but follow his ways. And then skip down to verse 11. It says, I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. And so what this is saying is it's saying that when we stay in God's word, when we stay reading the Bible every day, when we stay plugged into this and glued to this, that we can remain joyful. That amidst the circumstances of life and everything that goes crazy, that we can trust in God. We can be joyful because his Bible, his word, this word, I believe that, and we believe that this word is all by straight in a way. There's promises in the Bible that can give us hope when we're in times of trouble, when we're in times where we don't know what's going on. See, I believe that we refrain from compromising our walk with God with bad decisions, and instead, I believe we refrain from compromising our walk with bad decisions, and instead walk on the path that the Lord has placed before us. And I think the best way that we can do that is to get into the Word every single day. See, the times where the times where I'm constantly in the Word are the times where I feel on top of the world. They're the times where I feel the strongest, and the times where I feel like I can take on anything. And it doesn't matter what circumstances are in front of me. Hey, I believe that when if I wake up in the morning and I read my Bible, I know that the day may not go the way I plan, but I can guarantee you 99% of the time, if there was something that went on in my day and I didn't expect it to happen and I started to get flustered and I started to go crazy, right? Every time when I take a minute, take a step back, I remember what I read about that morning. And 99% of the time, it applies to the situation that's in my life. It applies to what's going on in me when I remember the word that God has spoken into the Bible, and that's live and active, living today. That's what Hebrews 4:12 says. The word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword. It's alive and active. It's sharp. It's good. It's so great. Like, that's why we have the Bible. It's because it's still alive. It's still around. It's still so amazing. And I think that if we want to grow as Christians, we need to be reading our Bibles and applying it to our life on a day-to-day basis. See, I think that in our life, all right, it's a little illustration here. When we start out, we're born, we're little babies, right? We're just little babies, we're real small, right? We start out by drinking milk, right? Because we can't really digest anything else. That's all we can do is we can just start out by drinking milk. And then after that, we go to baby food. And then we eat baby food for a couple years, you know, all the spinach, the yams, the sweet potatoes. Sweet potato baby food actually isn't that bad, just because sweet potatoes are so great. Don't ask me how I know. I just know. All right. Also, my sister's having a baby in March, so I'm trying to get accompanied, like feel comfortable around kids, but I'm still not there yet. I'm trying to figure that out. But we start out drinking milk, and then we go to baby food, and eventually, once we're older, then we can start to eat more and more real food. Then we go to Cheerios, and then we get like more and more food, right? And I think it's the same way when it comes to reading the Bible. It's like we have to start out small. If you've never read the Bible before, or you've never, like tried to apply it to your life on a daily basis, listen, you're not going to read the Bible in a day. Don't try and go out big. Don't try and try and, grab a big fat steak when you're kids don't grab a big fat steak when they're just a little kid. No, they start small and they work their way up. And so I'd encourage you guys to start out small, to start by reading the Bible just a little bit. Maybe read one chapter a day, one chapter every day. And then after reading a chapter a day, start to try and apply it to your life. So maybe that means that you, after reading, the Bible every day, one chapter a day for a week, maybe the second week when you're doing that, try and write down a little bit of what you think God's trying to teach you. If you guys have ever heard of soap, soap is what we use here at Next Level Church, not only to get rid of body odor, but it's a way that we break down the Bible. It's super simple. It's scripture, observation, application, prayer. So it's just a cool acronym. So it's basically you read a chapter in the Bible, you take one scripture, you write that down. And then you take one thing that you observe from that, and then you write that down. And then you take one thing that you can apply from that chapter, and you write that down. And then you say a little bit of a prayer there at the end. It's just a cool way to journal and track along with what you're reading in the Bible. And so that is the third ideal to leadership: stay in God's word. So remember, the three ideals to leadership are to see others as greater than yourselves, to honor those who have gone before you, and to stay in God's word. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I'm so excited. I'm so glad that you guys who joined us here, whether on Sunday afternoon or in some other environment, if you're watching it on YouTube later this week, I just want to say thanks so much for coming and taking about 30 minutes to join us, to hang out, learn a little bit about leadership. I hope that you guys were encouraged from this. I would love some feedback. If you guys have any thoughts, if you learned something, if you want more clarity, feel free to come talk to me. You can tweet me at Chris_Sturzel. Tweet at me if you have any questions. If you ever want to come and hang out in the office, just tweet me. Be like, hey, Chris, I'm bored. I got nothing going on this afternoon. Come hang out here. That's where I'm at right now. I'm at the Next Level Church offices, just hanging out. So if you guys ever want to come hang out, I'd love to hang out with you guys. Grab some coffee, do whatever. So feel free to do that. Tweet me if you have any questions. Direct message me on Twitter. I love you guys so much, man. I'm so honored that I get to be here, that I get to be your campus pastor, your campus director here at Collide. And man, I just want to say I'm so proud of you. Those of you guys who are watching this, who took the time to watch this, I'm so proud of you guys for taking 30 minutes out of your week, not doing what everyone else is doing, but learning how to grow in your walk with God and really learning how to grow in leadership. So I love you guys. I'm so proud of you. I hope that you learned something from this, and I look forward to seeing you guys this Wednesday at Collide. But other than that, you guys have a great week. Love you guys so much. Bye-bye.